Hey, so before this interview starts with Malu Andrade, in the recording there was a huge problem with my microphone specifically, where it sounds like I'm a robot. I don't know what happened. Maybe I clicked something during the interview, but it messed up. But you can still kind of tell what I'm saying. But I also put subtitles in the video so you can understand the questions I'm asking. But luckily, the guest, Malu's mic is completely fine. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoy this interview.
So I'd like to start off these interviews with one question. What is your current favorite song right now?
Man, my current favorite song, I think it's Shout to the Lord, but the upper room version. That's just what's been on repeat probably the past 24 hours. Um yeah, I just found that version and I've been on it.
I want to praise the wonders of your
I'm
mind.
here with, I don't want to mispronounce your name, Malu Andrade.
That's great, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. We are here to celebrate your film being played at Dead Center, so congrats.
Thank you so much.
But I'm fascinated with the early parts of people's careers and stuff like that, and how difficult it is. You know, you find out what you want to be, and then you work many years to get at it, and then you finally like hit it. And I'm fascinated with that in between time. So I want to eventually get to talking about your film, but I think it's cool to start with your very beginning. So how did you start deciding you wanted to do film or something creative?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Feel like I'm still in the beginning of it. This is my first film festival as a filmmaker, so it's an honor to be here with you and just, all the opportunities to meet everyone and exchange experiences and conversations. It's been great. I'm currently 21, so still a baby in the industry, and I'm originally from Brazil. Grew up in Mozambique, right next to South Africa, and ended up at the University of Oklahoma, which is about 20 minutes south. And it was just interesting because I came originally for, I was gonna do international development, which is like kind of a political course, go to law school, get into nonprofit, all that stuff. And I always liked the creative things, but that was kind of just to me, it was like a hobby or a thing I like doing when I wanted to just have more fun or whatever. Um, and then one day I met a producer and we were just talking, long conversation, long story short, he just asked me like if you could do anything, you know how to do it all. Money was an issue, what would you do? And my immediate answer was I'd be a creative director. Didn't even know what a creative director was. But I was like, that's what I want to do. And he was like, so that's what you should do in college. And that kind of spiraled me a little bit, took me into like this 3 month thinking process. But ended up changing then my major to go into OU's film school, and it was one of the best choices I've made. Never looked back after that, and it just unlocked something in me. And so I think that's how it started. Was that the
Yeah,
questions that answer?
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
But so at that moment you're having that conversation, you were like, I want to do this. Do you think back to your early childhood where you're like, oh, that's kind of where it stemmed from? Is there any connection you have back then?
I think I don't know if it would be related because I feel like a lot of people, regardless of what they choose to do in life, enjoy watching movies just because it's a pastime, a
Yeah.
hobby, or whatever. But some of my favorite memories are just my grandpa would come over every weekend to hang out with us, and he'd come Friday night through Sunday. And what we would do is we'd put mattresses in the living room and watch movies all weekend with him, like the Jackie Chan old action movies. And then one of my favorite memories with my dad too is that, especially when we lived in Brazil, every time a cartoon would come out, we would go to this bookstore and then we would go to the theater, and like that was our thing. So I think those experiences really drew me into just like how enjoyable it is. And then when I grew older, I was like, wait, I can do that for other people too. That's really cool. And then when I was a teenager, just I was in that beginning, like whenever YouTube started becoming a thing, like the vloggers, the YouTube channels. And I think everyone my age went through a phase
Oh,
of
100%. Yeah.
wanting to do their own vlogs and wanting to be, have their big channel and whatever. So definitely had that phase. And then, yeah, just doing like a lot of church media and then vlogging with my friends. I think those things were, probably the beginning experiences. And then coming to college, I was like, wait, I can actually do this on a legit
Yeah.
scale and make it happen.
One thing I read, looking up your film and researching, was that Missing You, which is your film at Dead Center premiering, was a student project at first, but
Hmm.
you came in with the mentality of like, oh, we're gonna make this a big thing. Like
Yeah.
this is not a student project in my eyes. This is a big thing. So can you kind of talk me, how did the concept of the story missing you happen, and what really set your mind to be like, okay, I'm gonna make this bigger than what it originally is as a student film project?
Yeah, that's an awesome question because I love talking about it. Basically, yeah, kind of like you said, we were in the student environment, class environment, put into groups, go make a film for your final. Can be about whatever you want, so there was a lot of creative freedom in that. But the professor, to whom I credit a lot of my career and my success so far, Scott Hodgson over at Gaylord College, he always challenged me, and so I was like, this is such a good opportunity to kind of live up to that if I can. And so before the script even came about or the idea of the story came about, me and my friend Aldair, who's the director of photography in it, we were like, okay, how do we make this happen? And we were like, well, practically speaking, just the locations, like, every student film, or not every, but probably most student films are shot in college apartments and they are college, but just because it's like, well, you have easy access to, so it makes sense. And, we definitely did our fair share of that a lot too. But so we were like, okay, let's cut we're doing no student apartments. And then something else too was just, again, because of it being convenient, you end up having a lot of college age people acting in your stuff. And we were like, what if we have an older actor like that, usually we wouldn't work with? And what are some locations kind of, stemming off from, okay, if we're not doing a college campus or apartment, then where do we go? And we're like, well, we could try to get that church that's really pretty, and we should go to a cemetery. Like, what do we talk about? We don't want to talk about the usual, which, I mean, there are real stories of just, college struggles of like depression, relationships, friendships, but it just felt like everyone was doing that. And we were like, what's a story that people our age aren't really telling right now? So that was just the initial drive. And then when I sat down to write, I was like, I can't write comedy because I'm not funny like that. And so I was like, okay, let's just go the complete opposite route. And at that time, one of his best friends had just passed away, and the dude was like 20. And that was very heartbreaking to watch, even though I'd never met the friend. Just watching my friend go through that, I was like, man, I didn't even know what to tell him. And just other stories around me of people that had, experienced deaths near to them. I fortunately have not had that experience yet. But just drawing inspiration from that, and then honestly just sat down, put some sad music on and instrumental, and was just like, okay, if my sister, who's, just 3 years younger than me, so we're pretty close, if my sister, one of my very good friends, passed away, how do I think that I would live my life? Because, being very young, there's still so much ahead. Yeah. And so it's like, my wedding day will come. Like, how would it be if my sister wasn't there with me? And my kid's born, like, they're never going to meet, they're never going to meet their aunt. Just like moments like that. And so that's how the script was born, was just, drawing inspiration from around me and then sitting down and trying to put myself in those shoes.
Yeah, so that's so cool that there's a bunch of inspiration, but also like you came in with like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Here's why I'm gonna do this different. Amazing, really cool. Because I've been in that space too, in film school, and we had to make a group project. Obviously, but when I was in that space, I was like, this is not for me. Like, I can't work in that way creatively, and I'm more the music and film type of person, not score, but like licensed tracks and stuff like that.
Very admirable. Yeah. Not a lot of people can say that about themselves. So,
but like the fact that you were in that space, high energy in that space, a lot of creative minds, and like, we're gonna do this, that takes an extra step of effort. I think that's actually really difficult to do. So you do that, you have all that in mind. And so is this your first project ever, or did you make short films before?
This is my first narrative short that I wrote and directed. Most of what I do is producing. That's really what I really love. Yeah. Which, again, not a lot of people can say that either. Just like logistics, budget, spreadsheets, scheduling. I really enjoy that. So yeah, a lot of my projects before that had just been produced on a more producing role, but this was the first one that I wrote and directed. And so even bringing in Victor Caballero, who I don't know if you've met him yet, but he's part of DeadCenter. And, to us, he was like, that's an old actor. Like, if he hears this, Victor, we love you. But he was like genuinely, I'm not sure how old he is, but he is over 30 for sure. And so for a first time director, that was scary. I was just like, I don't even really know how to direct people my own age. And I did learn a lot. And, you know, even from them giving me tips on like, oh, this is what you want. Like maybe next time just say it this way, but in a very chill way where, and I think student films have that flexibility of like, yes, college egos are huge. But if you are willing to like humble yourself a little bit, there is that flexibility of like, we're all just learning. We don't fully know what we're doing. And everyone's aware of that. And so it was good because I did learn a lot, but it was like so scary of just being like, man, how do you have experience acting? I don't know what I'm doing really. We're going to make this work. And we did. And so I'm very proud of that project.
Yeah, it's so fascinating that you came with this drive and wanted to do this, and just kind of hit the ball rolling. You know, you kept on going. So let's go into you mentioned producing, say you enjoy producing. So did this come after you made your film, or were you producing before you made your first film?
So I had been producing already. I worked in a little, it's not little, I guess, but it's like in-house, Gaylord College's in-house production. It's called Gaylord Hall Productions. And I was one of the producers on it. Got to learn with Allison England, who was also a producer there, Ainsley Chambers, great girls. That did teach me a lot. And so I had like been associate producer on this comedy heist short film. One of the ones I'm most proud of is a piece called I Wanted to Be a Ballerina. And that was like full on producing. And it was really just me and this other guy called Grayson Harjo who DP'd and edited it. Very talented guy here in Oklahoma. And again, it was another one of those opportunities where we were given a bunch of options of stories that we could tell. And this was a super short doc that was like also a promo for the School of Dance, or I guess School of Fine Arts at OU. And they've got theater, musical theater, dance, and we were given a bunch of names that we could pick from. And I knew one of the names was a Brazilian ballerina. And I was like, this is going to be a great story. We can make a great promo for the School of Dance. And we can also, because one thing that I love about commercials, for example, which I know is kind of, you know, separate from short films, but it's just, I love when a commercial, you watch it and you can't tell that it's a commercial. And then at the end, it's like, it involves you in the story, or it's just so beautiful that you're just like, man, what is this? And then at the end, it's like, buy this house. And you're like, shoot, yes, like I need it. And so I was like, I had already known her a little bit. And so I was like, Victoria is going to be a great character. We can just talk about the experience. And, you know, I have the same experience in some ways of just coming to a new country, leaving everything you know behind to pursue your dreams, to go after this goal. And she's such a talented ballerina. And so I was like, this is where we're going to, and he didn't know her, but he was like, okay, bet, let's do it. And he ended up getting to know her too, captured her beautifully, the dances, everything was so awesome. And so that's a project I'm also very proud of, and proud of having produced that, just because we got to tell a story that is so important. And it's like not even a 3-minute video, but it impacts you so much because it's just so powerful and beautiful. And it did also get into like different awards and festivals. So that was also it felt accomplishing just to be like, dang, like, wait, we can actually do this. We know how to do this.
Awesome. So you mentioned about coming here from Brazil and doing film and stuff like that. So in the question of missing you, do you feel like any of that experience translated into the film in any way, or that part of you was involved in the film, and how do you think it helped elevate your film?
I think for sure, because kind of like I said, I haven't had an experience of someone close to me passing away. Very fortunate. But it is like when you move abroad, you know, like I spent 8 years of my life in Brazil and then 10 years of my life in Mozambique before coming. So far, that's most of my life. And it is like, of course, those people are in debt, but it is, you know, you get into new phases, new accomplishments, new things. And those people, you might not even talk to them anymore. Not because anything bad or beef or anything, but it's just like you're in different countries, different time zones, different lives now. You're not doing the same, you're not going to the same church, you're not going to the same school. So you just drift apart. And there have been so many moments in my life where people that are super close to me, like I just graduated a few weeks ago. And people, thank you so much. But, you know, a couple people that watched me grow up and were so pivotal in my life in so many moments weren't able to be there. And that does hurt. You know, it does feel a little bit, as happy as the day is, it does feel a little bit incomplete. So in no way am I comparing it to experiences of people who have had loved ones pass away. But I could relate in that sense of just like, dang, this moment is, you know, I'm living a dream. And at the same time, there's so many people that I wish could be here. And even if I text them, it's just not really the same, you know? And so in a way, I think that played into the script writing as well.
Okay. So one thing I would like to know is, what was a fear of yours going into making Missing You? And you came out of it like, oh, I didn't need to be fearful in that, and you actually felt better about it after making the movie.
I think it was, and how do I answer this in like a practical way, I guess? But it was just, we had no budget. It was, and when I say no budget, it's not like, oh, we had no budget, just like $5,000. Like we literally had no, I think we maybe used $100 to like buy the flowers that the bride was going to use in the scene. And yeah, like that was it. All our locations, we were very fortunate to have them for free. And like a lot of the props were also free. And we also, one of the things that I enjoyed about doing a drama that I figured out was like, wait, if we do a drama, we don't have to do anything crazy. Like we don't need, even in post, like we don't need crazy VFX or, you know, this can be actually pretty simple. And if we keep it simple, I think it can be well done. But it was just going to be like quick shooting days and schedules that were overlapping but weren't fully working. And some of those days were going to be long. And so I was just like, man, because I have a really high standard for myself and for the things I do, probably. And like, I think even with the thing of like being ambitious and trying to do what people around us weren't doing, I was like, we really need to do this well. And so I was pretty scared, just like, I hope we get everything we need, you know, which I think is a concern everyone probably has, of just like, I hope we get everything we need. I hope it looks as good as we're imagining it to be. But once we got on set, we did have challenges, but the vibes, really, I don't know another word for it, were just so great. And I think that's due to an incredible crew that just believed in us, believed in the story. And again, it's just a bunch of friends coming together to make something happen. And so, yeah, it was a concern. And then like we had to reshoot half of it 2 days before we had to submit. And it was really chaotic, but we made it. And I'm very thankful. Again, you know, it was definitely not just me. There's so many people that put in so many hours, nights. Like we weren't paying them. They were just there because they liked us and we liked them, and it made it work. And so eternally grateful for every person that stepped foot on that set.
Yeah, that kind of leads into my last question for you here is, one thing I've been hearing consistent from every person that I've interviewed so far is community. Community is such an important part. But I definitely believe when you're watching a movie on screen, the normal audience probably does not really know what's happening behind the scenes or anything like that. So I would like to give you like a chance to shout out to any of the unsung heroes that people really might not know that helped you make Missing You.
Man, there's so many, and I could legit like name them all. I don't know if I'll actually do it right now, but I think mainly Aldair Gutierrez, who DP'd it. He's out in LA right now, so you know, hoping he makes all his dreams come true because he is super talented. Dion Palman was who edited or produced. I'm sorry. She produced. She really saved us. She kept us all sane, kept us fed, kept us on schedule, made sure everyone was where they were supposed to be. Keaton Schauhorn, he was, you know, helping us PA or grip. I can't really remember in the first day. And then he was busy there other days, but then he jumped on towards the end of post and just helped us edit all of it and made it come together so beautifully. So we owe a lot of what it is to him as well. And then just like Connor, Carlos, Cruz, so many people that came on and made it what it is. And so, yeah, the filmmaking community is one of my favorite aspects about being in this, is just getting to create something that we're all proud of. And as a writer director, it's just so humbling to be like, thank you guys. And, you know, on record, once again, thank you guys so much for believing in me, believing in this story, and doing your best, because if it was just me, like, it would not have turned out as beautiful as it did. So I'm very thankful.
Awesome. where can people find you, the film in the future? Where can they follow you if they're watching this interview?
So you can just follow my Instagram. Again, it's our first festival circuit. We didn't really know what we were doing. So this film has no Instagram account of its own. But you can follow me on Instagram. It's MaluAndrade. It's a hard name, so I figured I'd spell it. Malu Andrade. And it's probably going to be on YouTube soon. We were just waiting to get at least into one festival. So now that we have, it's probably going to be public pretty soon. So
And if it does come out before the interview, I will link it so you guys can watch it right after this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.